Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another StarCraft 2 commentary. How we doing today? I am Force, you know that. Welcome back to Force Strategy Gaming. I'm casting another StarCraft 2 game for you today. This matchup is between Moon as our blue Zerg player and Squirtle, the red Protoss. So Squirtle versus Moon, PvZ here on Shakur's Plateau. Shakir something. And this should be an exciting matchup. I was told this match was presented to me with promise of epicness. So I hope it will deliver on such said promise. Again, this was said to be quite an amazing matchup, so looking forward to seeing exactly how it plays out. And already we can see here Squirtle gonna be going for that quick expansion, dropping down that pylon just outside of his natural, gonna allow him to make his wall off right up here, and again go ahead and get up that quick expansion. A lot of times with this you're gonna see it coupled with a forge, allowing for some cannon as defense, and then basically just heavily working on that econ early game, and then transitioning into all sorts of things. Definitely lots of possibilities for that transition from that fast expand, going for things like a 6 gate with a forge plus 1 level upgrade push. That's a possibility. And of course, you could just go into Stargate Tech, Warp Gate Tech, whatever, all sorts of dandy stuff. Not Warp Gate Tech, Robo Tech. You could go up to Robo or Stargate Tech. There's definitely tons of options, but I'm sure you know that. I don't really need to explain that to you. Anyways, taking a look over here in Moon's base, we can see he hasn't done anything as of yet. Not much that he could have done at this point, unless he went for some really cheesy... Oh, no, never mind. I'm lying. He's coming out with a pool right now. So really early pool here for Moon. Holy crap. Way off base there. It's like, oh yeah, everything's normal over here. Nope, definitely not normal whatsoever. Pool is just up right now. Zerglings on the way out. We can see those 6 Zerglings, and this is a little bit problematic right now for Squirtle. You can see, again, obviously nowhere near completion of a wall off right now. I think, obviously, Moon was under the assumption that Squirtle was going to try something like this. It is quite possible that this is kind of Squirtle's play style, going for that fast expansion. You see a lot of Protoss players do this on this map in general. Shakur's Plateau is definitely a popular map for a Protoss player going for that forge fast expand. Now, Squirtle's going to be in a little bit of bind. He's going to need to be finishing off this wall. Is he going to? No, it looks like he is actually instead going to be coming down. No, okay, finally. So he's going to be finishing off the wall. Definitely the wise move there. Waiting until this probe, in fact, scouted those Zerglings. And here we go, finishing off that wall off. Photon cannon being dropped right now as well. And it looks like, yes, that is a complete wall off right now. So Squirtle is going to be able to deny those Zerglings from pushing in. As soon as that cannon goes up, it's going to look at that right there. So perfect play there by Squirtle. He obviously wanted to go for that expansion first, but definitely not an option. Now Zergling is going to be pounding away through this gateway, so forced to build another building down there. And Zerglings managed to sneak in right now. They're going to want to run away from that cannon, go up into the mineral line. Probes pulling down right now, trying to force these Zerglings to take fire from that photon cannon. Also coming down with another cannon right there. Great play here by Squirtle, denying those Zerglings from being able to push in. Zerglings trying to push forward right now. They're going to be able to get in just out of the range of the cannon, taking one shot there, but going to be pushing up at this point. So now these probes are in a bit of trouble. Zerglings going to be running in, trying to do what they can. Probes want to pull around to engage the Zerglings, and Zerglings are going to be just dancing around, trying to basically do everything they can to stop the mining and do as much harassment as possible. And obviously at this point, doing a great job right now. Squirtle at this point has just enough resources to go ahead and drop that expansion, and he is in fact going to do so. Taking a look over here, you can see that pylon did get dropped, trying to prevent the expansion there from Moon, but no, Moon did manage to kill off that pylon, was able to expand. And again, this is harassment right now. You realize, okay, he's not killing any of these probes, but he's still harassing. All of these probes are clearly not mining right now. They need to force around and try to get those Zerglings to get out of the base, or trying to do what they can to kill them. Now the Zerglings of course are regenerating health over time, but not as quickly as the shield regenerates for the probes. So the probes are actually in a good position right now, and Moon is just continuously microing around these Zerglings. Back at home inside his base, you can see right now that expansion just about working its way in right now. The Queen also has 2 of them at this point, so 1 for the natural, 1 for the main, and more probes being forced to pull out right now. So Squirtle trying to do what he can again to dissuade these Zerglings from trying to push in for attack. And look at these little bit of Zerglings over here, might be able to push in, but actually just chilling out over there. And right now Moon's just hanging out inside of Squirtle's base. No player seems to really care, and probes turn around to engage those Zerglings again, trying to prevent them. Zerglings do manage to kill off a couple of probes right there. And this is quite interesting from both players. Definitely a not standard opening. It's like both players going for kind of a standard opening, aside from the fact that there's Zerglings running around and probes chasing those Zerglings. But aside from that, both players looking to get their expansions up, working on their economies. Zerglings still kind of just hanging out in Moon's base. Now, obviously, once a Zealot engages them, those Zerglings are going to be forced to run away. They don't really stand much of a chance against that one Zealot. Just goes to show you how powerful a Zealot is against Zerglings. Now, Probe going to be scouting, and in fact, he does see that Moon is going for that third base, and I wonder what Squirtle's going to do. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a proxy pylon for future use, and I think that's going to be happening as soon as he gets that 100 resources right there. So Moon going to be just working on his economy right now, and I guess the people who sent me this replay were indeed correct. Already off to an epic start. We saw that really fast pull there from Moon, pushing right into Squirtle's base, and Squirtle was forced to just keep guys off the line and try to engage those Zerglings as much as possible, and all the while mining with what he could, and then at the same time going ahead and working on his econ, getting out as many probes as possible. You can see he, of course, was able to get out that expansion as well. And now Squirtle's going to be pretty well set against anything that Moon can throw at him. Moon doesn't really have much of a threat right now. He doesn't have a Roach Warren out. Just would be working with Zerglings at this point. Doesn't even have the metabolic boost on the way. In fact, you can see he's teching up, and like I said, working on that econ. He does have that third base right now, getting a couple more extractors and going ahead and getting some of that creep spread. And that pylon is going to be coming into play at some point right in the near future, I would imagine. Once that warp gate tech does come into play, wouldn't be too surprised if we saw a pylon drop down, warp in a couple of units, and take out this expansion quite handedly. So yeah, not much going to be going on anytime in the near future. Looks like we are seeing Squirtle right now working away at these back rocks. He himself does in fact want to go for a third expansion, knowing at this point that Moon is on a third base himself. If Squirtle can get himself on a third base, and he's going to be in a really good position. Look at this, very gateway heavy right now from Squirtle. So in fact, you're going to be going for that, and actually that level 1 upgrade right there as well. So it looks like at the moment he's going to be sitting on 5 gateways, plus that level 1 upgrade coming out. And probably with that said, going to be looking to do somewhat of an early push, because that's what that really entails. He's not going for that higher tech, not looking to get that Robo or that Stargate quite yet. And here we go, pylon is out right now for Squirtle. Warp gate tech is finished, so might be seeing a warp in of units in the near future. Now over here for Moon, taking a look inside of his base, what has he got going on at this point? Just getting some upgrades. We can see the Hydroden in, so really surprised that I'm not seeing the Roach Warren right now either. And there we go, warp into units going to be coming in right now. 3 sentries going to be pushing down and causing some harassment over here for Moon. Is he going to be getting a couple zealots as well? No, just some more sentries. So going to be relying on the force fields to try to prevent any surrounds from Zerglings. He might even be just waiting and continuing to warp in, because at this point we can see Moon is not aware of the fact that this is going on over here. So it looks like Squirtle going to be hanging out for the time being, waiting for maybe a couple more warp ins before he decides to push and try to do any damage. And there we go, the back rock's finally destroyed right now for Squirtle, so he's going to be looking to expand sometime soon. And here comes the push right now, a bunch of zealots coming down with these sentries, and this expansion is gone. If we get any sort of Zerglings or any sort of pressure over here, we're just going to see force fields, and then they will be able to quite handily deal with that. And even if it becomes a little bit threatening, the proxy pylon is right here, so reinforcements are not too far away. We can see right now that Overlord speed upgrade is up right now for Moon, so quickly able to get that Overlord out of the way. And look at this, going for these rocks as well, so at least giving himself access for future note. And look at that, Broodling's coming up but not doing a lot of damage at all. Squirtle just pulling back, and I don't think he lost a single unit in that engagement. Let's take a look right there. Those should be all probes. I'm not sure. I think, yeah. I don't know what that is, actually. I can't decipher at this point. Probably wasn't just paying enough attention. Looks like Moon is going to be getting out an additional expansion right now here in the upper left, so trying to get back on 3 bases. And at this point, Squirtle is just right now staying on these 2 bases. Going to be going back for these rocks back here. We can see the Overlord moving around. Going to be getting a scout of what's going on. He's going to see that these rocks are down, so he knows to be wary in the future of anything coming from there. Bunch of Hydralisks coming out right now for Moon. Going to be all rallied right into the center, and again that third base just about finished right now. Big problem in the fact that he did lose that, so great play there by Squirtle, just checking for that third base and taking it out. And the fact that Squirtle is coming down with a third base right now of his own is definitely a really good situation for him. Going to be moving out with 2 hallucinated phoenixes, one going straight to the natural, and then the other one's going to be moving to a possible third over here. Just wants to check, and then also going to be checking right here. So at this point, looks like Squirtle going to be fully aware of where these expansions are from his opponent. Where is that first? Actually, I lost that first one very quickly to the Hydralisk fire. Was able to take that down almost instantly, and there we go, checking that base right there. So he knows that Moon does have the third right here. Would be interested to see if he decides to push that. And look at that, coming down with another expansion. Moon's going to be trying to move into his 4th. So, I mean, a little bit of harassment, a little bit of scouting going on from both players, but as far as actual big engagements, nothing's happened recently. We are seeing that level 1 range upgrade come through right now. Level 2 range upgrade coming through for Moon. And yeah, just kind of macroing up. Both players working a little bit on their army, but primarily working on their economy. Squirtle still producing right now. Those probes, you can see additional probes coming out. Also working on a Colossus and that Thermal Lance upgrade. So going to be going for a Gateway plus Colossus tech. How many Robos does he have? Does he just have 1? Yes, he does. So at the moment, just sitting on this Wonder Box facility, not not going to be trying to pump out a 2. It would be a little difficult considering he does have 5 gateways. 5 gateways plus a robo would be really hard to try to pump out of a second robo as well, so that's why we are only seeing him on that 1 robo. And look at this, we're going to be seeing a big drop coming through from Moon. Lots of Hydralisks in there, a bunch of Zerglings in there as well, so this is going to be quite interesting to see how Squirtle is able to deal with this, and I wonder if he's going to just be keeping this forces back here for future use, possibly waiting until Squirtle. Oh, here we go. This is exactly what he's going to be doing. Moon's going to be harassing this third, and when the forces of Squirtle push down to deal with this, if he's going to, actually, no, looks like he's going to be staying. No, he is pushing down, in fact. So once these forces push down to deal with this possible threat, we're going to be seeing the drop, and here comes the drop right now. These forces not going quite far enough away, though, so Moon is going to want to retreat. He's not going to be able to do a lot of damage, especially with the Colossus, but no, just dropping anyways. Going to be dropping right on that Colossus, taking out almost instantly forces of Moon, going to work here on the economy, trying to do what they can. Managed to take out that Colossus as well. That was really a really nice move there by Moon. That is exactly what he wanted to do. You can see just how effective these Hydralisks are against the gateway units, just absolutely shredding them to pieces, doing lots and lots of damage, and lifting them up. Going to be dropping them back in the main right now, trying to do damage before these forces can go ahead and re-rally up to the top here. As he's spreading creep, no, he's in fact not doing it. Look at this, Church trying to do a little dance here and force the units of Squirtle to try to basically guess where he is. And another Colossus is still on the board right now, so not sure if Moon's going to be able to continue to do this drop, and actually kind of diverting them over there, and the drop is continuing right now, and lots of economic damage continuing going down. Now this Colossus is going to be able to take out those Hydralisks very, very quickly, but no, picking them up, and Moon's going to be leaving again, staying just out of the range of those Stalkers, and Squirtle actually attacking his own Nexus there, but Moon managed to get away with a few units and did quite a bit of damage right there economically. And look at this big push coming down from Moon on the back base, going to be hitting this third expansion here of Squirtle really, really soon. Lots of roaches, bunch of Hydralisks in there as well, so going to be a pretty devastating attack once this lands. Scouting Zealot is going to catch this though, so at this point Squirtle's going to be aware that it's happening. A bunch of Stalkers sitting right here, and there's a Colossus. It doesn't look like it's quite enough now. This choke point is going to be a little bit problematic. Going to take a lot of damage there from that Colossus. Nice force field going down there as well. So Squirtle with the force field managing to take down quite a bit of those roaches. Not a whole lot that Moon can do about this, and he wants to be careful not to push him, but a ton of Overlords coming and probably going to be picking up and going to be continuing to do that drop harass. Really interested to see this. You do not see a lot of drop harass from Zerg players, but it looks like that is his MO in this game. Moon's going to be trying to continue that up. He does have these forces over here. Do they have units in them? No, those Overlords do not in fact have units over the inside of them, so a drop from that direction isn't going to be happening. A bunch of Corruptors moving forward from Moon, going to be using those of course to try to snipe down this Colossus as quickly as possible, but a little miss rally right there, and actually Moon's probably going to be losing at least one Corruptor does drop. A second Corruptor drops as well, manages to get away with that third right there. That was a little unfortunate there from Moon. Again, those were rallied Corruptors and brought in the wrong position. Didn't manage to take a little bit of fire there from those Stalkers and got dropped very quickly, and it looks like at this point Squirtle is tired of this harassment, going to be looking to push forward and try to continue, do some counterattacks here and try to force Moon to defend his base as opposed to continuously attacking the base of Squirtle. And Moon could be in a bit of trouble right now. These Colossus, of course, with their range upgrade, are going to be able to take out these workers very, very quickly, but not engaging at the moment, just pushing forward with these Stalkers right on the edge there, trying to snipe any Overlords that do come in. And Moon is, in fact, not going to be too worried with defending that expansion. In fact, going to be pulling into the base of Squirtle. And is he? I think he might be rallied and checking. Yeah, he is going to be rallied over here and checking a possible fourth base for Squirtle, but Squirtle is not on that fourth base, still maintaining just those 3. And at this point, the forces here of Squirtle are going to be pushing back to his main base, knowing that those Overlords have taken off. He wants to be careful, wants to make sure he doesn't get dropped on, and so many Corruptors right now for Moon. So Moon is definitely really concerned about a Colossus heavy build. We can see the 3 Colossus. In fact, we do have a 4th one on the way out as well. So I suppose that is a rightful decision on his part to worry about this Colossus, because definitely quite a few going to be hitting the board. Also going to be going pretty Stalker heavy as well. Kind of not so many Zealots at this point. Realizing that dealing with the Zealots. Look at this, another drop coming down from Moon, and he's going to be trying to snipe down this expansion. I think he's going to get it and then just lift up very quickly, and expansion does go down. There is that lift up, and Moon wants to get away with those Overlords. Very careful. Going to lose one and maybe a second one as well. Yes, he does, and those were both pretty much full, so big losses there from Moon, but the damage was done, and there's another attack going down. Corruptors to persuade any Colossus to push away, and the Roach is going to be moving forward and stopping mining for quite some time. The amount of harassment going down from Moon is absolutely unbelievable with this drop. Just the mobility that it offers him. A really, really impressive play here from Moon, and again, that really heavy Corruptor number is going to really push back any Colossus that try to engage. Obviously, the idea for Squirtle is going to be to target fire those Corruptors with the Stalkers, and that's definitely part of the reason he's going so Stalker heavy and not mixing out quite as many Zealots in there as well. So really investing inventive play here from Moon. You really don't see a lot of drops anymore from Zerg players, and just continuing up this harassment. We can see also going to be moving into a 5th base as well. He has maintained saturation here on these bases for quite some time. Really haven't seen a lot of harassment except for that initial expansion snipe from Squirtle. He hasn't really hit any of the expansions of Moon in quite some time, and it looks like he's going to be trying to do just that right now. Has quite the death ball of units. Also going to be hallucinating a bunch more Colossus right now. Pushing forward right now with the Corrupt is going to be trying to target fire the correct Colossus. In fact, getting a few of those hallucinations, realizing he doesn't have enough forces, he's going to be forced to push back right now. Just too much for him to deal with. So Moon is definitely going to need to do something, or else he's going to lose this expansion. We do see a drop going down here at this expansion. It's not even up yet though, so there's obviously no saturation on that base and nothing that he's actually stopping from mining right now. And Moon's going to be losing this base right now. Corruptors pushed back right now. Don't want to engage until those hallucinations drop. Again, target firing the wrong one could be a huge issue. You can see a lot of effort went into taking down this Colossus, and obviously that doesn't do a whole lot because that Colossus doesn't really do any damage at all. Corruptors moving forward and going to be trying to snipe, a no pushback from those Blink Stalkers. Snipe going down on a few, manages to lose 2 Corruptors there. So nice little blink engagement there from Squirtle, taking out 2 Corruptors. But look at this, Moon just continuing to expand, not dissuaded at all by the fact that this attack went out for Squirtle, taking out that base. He really doesn't care all that much. You can see again moving into this 4th base right now. Actually, this would be the 5th base because the 4th is right up here. A couple Spine Crawlers going down to try to provide at least some sense of security at that expansion. We can see a whole bunch of Overlords chilling out over here from Moon. None of them actually filled with units, but either way, I guess for secondary scouting in the future, that's quite the possibility. Few Overlords sitting out over here, and it looks like Squirtle's going to be looking to expand in this position. You can see that pylon going down, and probably going to be seeing a Nexus go down right here very, very shortly. So here comes that push right now out into the base, or the X base here of Moon, and Moon again obviously going to be seeing this from that creep vision there, and so many Corruptors right now. So even with those snipes, he's really not too worried. Is he going to try to engage there? Wow, really big. I'm really surprised that he did that, just pushing forward with just those Corruptors, not pulling forward with his other units as well, those Roaches and Hydras. You definitely want to engage as one full group, because he did lose a few Corruptors without doing any damage whatsoever. And look at this, he's going to catch a few Colossus en route. Is he going to have the wherewithal to target fire them? Yes, he is. So taking out one Colossus, second Colossus going down. Is he going to get the third one as well? Yes, he is. Pushing forward, sacrificing some of his Corruptors to try to get that 4th, and he does snipe it down, and then going to be pulling back with his Corruptors, losing quite a bit there, but taking out 4 Colossus. I would say that would be worth the trade-off. Definitely a big advantage there for him. Now, seeing that Moon is so Corruptor heavy, this actually could be a bit of a problem, because having so many Corruptors also means that he's a bit lacking on those ground forces, but you can see he was pretty much one-shotting those Colossus. So I would say that's somewhat worth the trade-off. As long as he also has the ground forces to deal with all of these Stalkers, Zealots, and Sentries, then he should be okay. But he doesn't want to get too many Corruptors and then have all of a sudden Squirtle decide, okay, I'm just not going to get any more Colossus. In fact, look at that. A switch is going to be coming right now from Squirtle. Squirtle switching to Psionic Storm, also getting that Dark Shrine, so going to be getting some Dark Templar art as well to try to do some harassment. Are we seeing another drop? Yes, we are. So Moon continuing to try to harass, doing a good job of harassing these expansions of Squirtle, and here we go, that Overlord drop going to be happening. We can see this expansion going up right now for Squirtle as well, but there's pretty much been constant harassment of this Nexus right now from Moon. Squirtle having a really hard time defending this, and here we go, Hydralis dropping, and just the sheer amount of damage they do, taking out a few probes, and then probably going to be target firing the Nexus, I would imagine so, but it looks like they aren't in fact. There we go, so a few of them going to be target firing those Nexus, trying to take down as quickly as possible. Also going to be getting down a few of these pylons, and wow, a little bit late there on the reaction. Squirtle going to be pulling back his forces. He was a little bit too far away, but before he even gets there, I think we're probably going to be seeing a lift off. So Stalkers moving forward to engage. Are the Overlords going to lift off? No, they are not, so they're just going to try to engage and do what they can. But we are also seeing another drop going down. Roaches here at this expansion, moving forward with another drop over here at this last base of Squirtle. Squirtle is down to quite a few bases, and this constant dropping here from Moon doing a lot of damage. Storm going down on those Roaches, but obviously that does not do too much damage. A Storm not really effective against Roaches, definitely a lot more effective against Mutas, Zerglings, and Hydralis. And this drop over here didn't do too much damage, but just the harassment alone is enough to warrant the drop as being effective. And taking down those Blink Stalkers, trying to blink away, but still not quite enough. And the fact that Squirtle is forced to move back and forth between the bases to try to defend is definitely going to be giving him quite a bit of a headache, I can imagine. Still a lot of Corruptors here on the board for Moon. Also going to be getting out a bunch of Hydralisks at this point. Did end up losing that expansion to DT. I'm very sorry that I missed that. Looks like we did have a DT engage this expansion over here from Moon, and he wasn't able to bring forward an Overseer and bring enough units to be able to defend it. And actually going to be moving over here into this base, but it looks like Moon does have the Spore Crawler up. That coupled with these Spine Crawlers should be enough to deal with that one DT. Also have a couple Hydralisks coming out, but those are going to probably take a few swipes. No, they are not. Just bypassing that DT. And look at that, going to be taking out that DT very, very quickly. Does manage to get poked right before it gets out of range there. We are seeing a push come down from Squirtle. Going to be trying to engage this base again. Moon is just not having it this game. He cannot take this expansion. Just isn't working out for him. Going to be a big problem right there. Trying to push into these Spine Crawlers is going to take a lot of unnecessary damage. Corruptors moving forward to try to push back any Colossus. The Colossus aren't quite in range yet, however. So going to want to pull back with this Corruptors. Don't want to take any losses to those Stalkers. And again, unfortunately, Moon hasn't been able to expand. Hydra's pushing forward over here. Going to be pushing back these forces of Squirtle. A big storm going down, taking a few losses there of those Hydralisks. But again, all of these Spine Crawlers making it a little bit difficult. And actually, Squirtle is going to be losing these High Templar just because I want to say a little bit of a miss micro. Accidentally brought his High Templar down there. Took a few pokes from those Spine Crawlers, plus a couple shots from those Hydralisks. But another drop going down. Moon just being absolutely relentless with this Overlord dropping. Going to be taking out this base. And even though the mining is very slim, the amount of minerals remaining is very slim, the fact that he's just continuously killing off these Nexuses is forcing Squirtle to produce. And look at this, another drop going in. Unbelievable. Just managing to pull the forces away from his base long enough to get a drop down and do economic damage. Just ridiculous play we're seeing right now from Moon. And moving into the main base right now, Moon is going to be trying to take out the main production buildings as well as any of the tech from Squirtle. So much harassment going down. Corruptors pulling forward. Going to be sniping down these Colossus and trying to push forward and do some sort of damage. Squirtle realizes he's losing a whole lot right here, and these small group of Hydralisks are going to do so much damage. Now at this point, Squirtle's just a little bit concerned. If he tries to push back to deal with this, he's just going to continuously take harassment at this expansion. So going to be pushing out, trying to do what he can for damage, losing pretty much all of his Colossus, forced to come out with just these High Templar to try to do some AoE damage to these units. Being so roach heavy right now, that Storm isn't going to be quite as effective. Squirtle's going to be pushing forward with this small task force to do what it can, but back in the main base here of Squirtle, you can see he's lost a few of those production buildings, has lost that Dark Shrine, and is going to be losing this Robotics Bay as well, as long as a bunch of these gateways. So trying to continue this push and do what he can to take out Moon as a response to this base trade, and I'm not sure he's going to have quite enough. The reinforcement's going to be pumping out right now. We can see Moon is pretty low on resources, but bringing out what he can. Also bringing in a few Hydralisks as well as his Queen. A nice transfuse going down there on that Hydralisk. Going to be bolstering those forces, and wasn't able to get down a second transfuse as well before he got dropped. Corruptors on the board, obviously not doing a lot. Probably trying to drop a bit of that corruption down on these units for that extra damage. Losing a bit of his ground forces right now. Moon does not have quite enough. Luckily, he does have mining going down over here. And again, back in the main base, Moon absolutely taking out pretty much everything from Squirtle. Squirtle is down to almost nothing, forced to retreat and make his main base over here in this direction. And this attack has been thwarted from Squirtle. He lost pretty much all of his units engaging with the drones for that extra damage and that distracting fire. And Moon was able to defend that push. Moon continuing to push out with these Hydralisks and just absolutely devastating. Squirtle has lost pretty much everything in his initial main and expansion here, and again forced to push his main base over into this base over here. But Squirtle is pretty much on the ropes right now. Again, we can see the Moon does have some mining going on. Stalkers trying to push forward and do what they can. Going to be moving into this expansion, trying to harass some of these drones, but it's not going to be quite enough. A big force also going to be pulling down with those drones. A little surprised about that. I don't know why exactly he's bringing down the drones. That seems a little unnecessary. Definitely want those mining. A few Stalkers again going to be harassing this expansion over here, and they stopped the mining, and I wouldn't be surprised if they actually just pulled away at this point, knowing that reinforcements are going to be coming. Stopping the mining is pretty much all he really wanted to do. And again, Hydra is going to be pushing forward, moving in this direction, so providing a constant threat. Obviously, Squirtle is aware of this. He sees this going on. He's going to want to put what forces he has over here to defend against this. But at the same time, I wouldn't be all that surprised if we did see Moon push in from this direction as well, so providing a threat from both angles. The harassment we have seen from Moon this game has just been absolutely absurd, like I said. And it looks like Moon is going to be doing some remote mining here from this base. Actually, will he be dropping down a hatchery? No, not quite yet. And here we go. Here comes a push from those Hydralisks. Nice little force field going down, allowing that photon cannon to shoot down on those Hydralisks and do some damage without letting those Hydralisks push in. He could, of course, gotten a second force field if he had another sentry. He does have that one sentry up there, and actually just getting enough energy to drop another force field. So if another push comes, he's going to be able to be safe for just a moment. But obviously at this point, Moon has maintained pretty steady map control for quite some time. He does have way more many bases at this point than Squirtle does. Squirtle is down to the 1 base. It doesn't really look promising right now for Squirtle. Very difficult for him to push out, and just look at the forces being massed up right now for Moon. Taking a look at that army tab, big difference. I mean, this game is already over. That is a huge difference. More than double right now the supply there. More than double the supply of Squirtle. That was tough for me. This game has been nuts. I don't know what to tell you guys. More than twice the supply of Squirtle, and look at that, going to be gearing up for a drop. He doesn't want to have to deal with force fields plus those big storms going down once his units are clustered. So just going to be lifting off and continuing this dropping that has been so effective for him the entire game. And where is he going right now with these overlords? Just pulling back. I mean, he can drop at any point. He's obviously won this game. Again, he's just way outsupplied right now. Squirtle doesn't really have enough to deal with this, and the overlord's going to be moving, getting ready for that drop. But we might be seeing some big storms, and this could actually make a big difference. If he can storm and do a lot of damage, this could actually be quite a big loss here from Moon. Moon, of course, could just drop those units quickly, but we'll see exactly what's happening. Pushing forward, and now Corruptor's not doing a whole lot. Want to put down a little bit of that corruption, and Overlord's moving in from both directions. There goes the drop, and that is the end of the game right now. Absolutely devastating. Storm's going down, but it doesn't really matter. There are just too many units here from Moon. Again, taking a look at that army station, still so much heavier, so many more forces there than Squirtle, and Squirtle does go ahead and call the good game. So great game between these two players. Absolutely unbelievable play. Again, just really inventive play style there from Moon. Obviously, dropping is a fairly common tactic in the game, but you just don't see it all that often from Zerg players. So really nice to see that from Moon. You do see a lot of, well, not a lot, but you do see more Nidus work than you do see dropping work from Zerg players. So really nice to see that. And again, the mobility that he was able to just constantly harass from multiple angles, absolutely unbelievable, and obviously proved to be really effective against his opponent here, Squirtle. So great game between these two players. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to be trying to come out with at least one more video today. We also have a video coming up from Cricket StarCraft, so hopefully you guys enjoy that. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and keep watching and keep owning.